What if I told you that the world's best-selling biscuit isn't some fancy gourmet treat? Nope. It's one that costs just a few cents. By sheer volume, one single brand just crushes the competition, moving billions and billions of packets every single year. This is the absolutely incredible story of Parle-G, and we're going to break down the marketing playbook that turned a simple biscuit into a global icon.
To really get your head around the scale we're talking about, just look at this number, 7 million. That's how many shops in India have Parle-G on their shelves. I mean, think about that. It's a level of market saturation that's almost impossible to imagine, from a shiny city supermarket to the tiniest tea stall in a remote village. And trust me, that's not an accident. That is our first big clue to the brand's marketing genius, being everywhere all the time.
So, this brings us to the big question, right? How on earth did a simple glucose biscuit, something that started way back during India's independence movement, become this global giant? It's more than just a success story. It's a masterclass in effective marketing, and we're about to unpack it clue by clue.
All right, first things first, let's establish just how big this phenomenon really is. We're not just talking about being popular in one country. According to Nielsen reports, Parle-G has been the world's #1 biscuit by volume sold since 2011. That's over a decade where more packets of this one biscuit have been sold than any other on the entire planet. That's just wild.
See, Parle-G isn't just a snack. It's basically woven into the fabric of daily life in India. It completely transcends class. It's a quick breakfast for a laborer. It's that perfect, comforting thing to dip in your tea for an office worker. And it's even been used as relief food during natural disasters. This kind of deep cultural connection, well, it's a marketer's absolute dream. And as we're going to see, it was built very, very intentionally.
So, our first major clue lies in its price. For more than 20 years, the brand was basically synonymous with a single coin, 5 rupees. But this wasn't just a price tag. You got to think of it as a psychological contract, this unbreakable promise of affordability to millions and millions of people.
But wait, how do you keep a price the same for a quarter of a century while all your costs are going up? Well, the answer is a trick you've probably noticed yourself at the grocery store: shrinkflation. Instead of breaking that sacred 5 rupee promise, Parle just systematically and pretty subtly reduced the number of biscuits in the packet. It was an absolutely brilliant move to hold on to that all-important price point.
And here's how it actually worked. A 5 rupee packet in the early 90s got you 100 grams of biscuits. Fast forward to 2021, and that same coin gets you just 55 grams. Parle understood something fundamental about their marketing. Their customers were way more sensitive to even a tiny price hike than they were to getting a few fewer biscuits in the pack.
And oh boy, did they learn this lesson the hard way. Back in 2004, they actually tried to raise the price by a tiny amount, just half a rupee. The reaction from the market was brutal. Sales crashed by a staggering 40%. The message couldn't have been clearer. That 5 rupee price was sacred. It was non-negotiable. This one event basically cemented price as the absolute cornerstone of their entire strategy.
All right, on to our second clue. This is kind of the other side of the affordability coin. I mean, a cheap product is totally useless if people can't find it, right? And this is where Parle-G's second pillar of marketing success comes into play. Its completely, utterly unmatched distribution network. Just look at this web. It's a machine. You've got over 100 factories pumping out biscuits. Those go to thousands of wholesalers, which then branch out to reach nearly 500,000 retailers directly, and then millions more indirectly. It's a textbook marketing principle, place, but just executed on a monumental scale, all for one purpose: total, absolute market penetration.
And don't for a second think this is some old-fashioned pen and paper system. This massive, boots-on-the-ground network is powered by some seriously sophisticated technology. By using a modern SAP cloud system, they managed to cut their operational costs by 30% and pretty much get rid of stockouts. It's the perfect marriage of high-tech efficiency powering a super low-cost product.
So we've got price and we've got distribution. But our third and final clue, well, this one might just be the most powerful of them all: the brand itself. Price and placement get the biscuit on the shelf, but it's the branding that gets it into people's hearts. Parle-G built this incredible emotional connection over generations, turning a simple biscuit into a symbol of trust and nostalgia.
This timeline is really a masterclass in brand evolution. It started as Parle Gluco way back in 1939, but look at how it adapted.
After India's independence, it smartly connected itself to national pride. Then, in the 60s, the iconic little girl in the package gave the brand a face of trust. The legendary G for Genius slogan in the 80s made it aspirational. And now, it's shifting from IQ to EQ, emotional quotient, to connect with a whole new generation. It has just constantly reinvented its message to stay relevant.
Now here's a quick interesting side note. You've probably seen the Parle name on drinks and bottled water, right? Well, that's not actually the same company. The original family business split into 3 different parts. The entity called Parle Products is the one that held on to the crown jewel, the entire biscuit empire, with Parle-G right at its heart. Okay, but here's the thing. No marketing strategy, no matter how successful it is, can just last forever without changing. Parle-G is now facing a major plot twist, the challenge of a new, modern market that's demanding a lot more than just a low price. And this is where the strategy starts to show some cracks. Parle sells the most biscuits for sure, but a huge competitor, Britannia, actually makes more money. The reason is pretty simple. Britannia totally dominates the premium market, where you can charge more and make a much bigger profit on every single pack you sell.
And this is the direct result. That high-volume, low-margin strategy that was their greatest strength for so long suddenly became a huge vulnerability when faced with modern inflation. With profits getting squeezed so hard, the company knew its old marketing playbook just wasn't going to cut it anymore.
So what did they do? Their solution was a really smart 2-pronged attack. On one hand, they kept the original Parle-G for the mass market, doubling down on all that nostalgia and value. But on the other hand, they launched a whole new premium range called Parle Platina with products like Hide and Seek, specifically to go after that urban millennial consumer who's willing to pay more for something a bit more indulgent.
Okay, let's bring this all home. We've pieced together the clues, the price, the distribution, the branding, and now this new adaptation. So what is the real secret recipe behind Parle-G's absolutely phenomenal success? The secret was never just one thing. It was the perfect and incredibly resilient balance of these 4 pillars all working together. They captured the market with a price nobody could touch. They reached every single corner of it with distribution nobody could match. They built an unbreakable emotional bond through decades of genius branding. And now, they're securing their future by strategically adapting to a whole new era. Which leaves us with one last thought. The Parle-G marketing strategy has been one of the most effective in history, period. But as the brand gets closer and closer to its 100th anniversary, it's facing its biggest challenge yet. How do you balance the legacy of a value-for-all biscuit with the modern consumer's desire for premium, indulgent experiences? Can this classic recipe really endure? Well, that is the billion-dollar question.